Hello, this review is for the KINGART Watercolor Brush Markers, the set of 36, the Studio brand. Diameter is 4.2 millimeters, length is 12 millimeters, from the KINGART company. So you can see the reds and yellows on the top layer, but if we get these open, this opens into 2 sets, and then it even opens further into 3 sets. So you've got the full rainbow combination of colors, and you can lay this out flat on the top of your work area if you've got enough space so that you can see all the different colors you're going to work with. Where shall we put these? Well, I think we're going to put them here, and then we will work with them solely on the piece of watercolor paper. All right, so that's watercolor paper that I've got here, and we will just go down the line so that you can see what all these colors look like. So the brush is great. It's got the fine point tip, and it's also got the side tip so that you can do wider swaths of color. So we've got all the yellows. We've got the lighter oranges. These do not have colors on them. I know sometimes I pick on brands for coming up with really bizarre color names that have no bearing as to the actual color that's involved. But on the other hand, I think I would like it to have some sort of a color name on there, so that if you are trying to work with an artist and figure out what they're doing, or just all sorts of reasons, it's nice to have some sort of color on there so you get a sense of what color you're working with. Even to remember for yourself, so that if you are doing, let's say, a children's book and you want to try to solidify, you don't have to remember, oh, it's the third red from the right. You can remember it by its name. And I suppose you could take a Sharpie and label these yourself, even if you just label them with numbers, which would be better than not having them labeled at all. And I keep thinking maybe I'm missing a name on here somewhere, but I do not see any name anywhere. So I think we're down to the Sharpie theory, where you want to get yourself a Sharpie and at least put numbers on these things so that you can keep track of which is which. And from an artistic point of view, let me slide this down a little. From an artistic point of view, it doesn't matter, because if you're doing a flower, you want to go with whatever colors you think will work well with the flowers. But if you're trying to do some sort of a project where you want to be consistent over time, and again, children's books just happens to spring to mind, but there's all sorts of kinds of projects that you could be interested in doing where you want to keep using the same colors. There is currently no easy way to do that other than keeping track of their position in the set, and then you're going to be stuck taking pictures of where they are in the set to make sure that you always put them back in the exact same location. And most of these are reasonably clear, but there could be cases where 2 of them look sort of the same and they're not quite the same. You know, I clearly have been in this situation many times before and would rather just have things labeled. So you can label it yourself. That will fix the problem, but I do recommend doing that at the beginning. The feel of the brush on the paper is lovely. Has a nice smooth sensation and a lot of control so that you feel like you can do detail work if you need to, and do a better fill-in work if you need to do that. All right, now we're on the last set in the greens. And I also love the colors. You know, some people might say, well, why not just use markers? But the brush tip of this is just so nice. And when you're doing artistic kinds of paintings, a lot of it's about the feel of the stem swooping down, or the petals flowing across the page, or, you know, the dress fabric flowing in the wind. There's all sorts of reasons that having a drawing utensil that has some ability to flow with you makes a lot of difference for things. So even just doing these little color swaths, I am thinking about all the different kinds of things, especially these greens. But some other people might be drawn to the pinks, and some people might be drawn to the blues, which is the beauty of art. The drawing process is very lovely with these. And the more that one enjoys the process of creating art, the more likely one is to come back to it and spend more time with it and then improve and then get positive reinforcement from other people, so the whole thing just perpetuates. So in general, I love the vibrancy of the colors. I love the texture of the brush tips as they put the colors down. I enjoy the set in general with the range of colors that they have available. And my only complaint is that they don't label these things in any way that I can see, which they really should, just so that we can keep track of what we're doing. So, and a nice solid case, which some companies don't offer. So this is the KINGART Watercolor Brush Markers 36 set. Let me know if you have any questions.